Hello, my dear students. I am Mr. Arvind Prajapati, the director of Sanjeevani Group Tuition, which is situated at Naval. I hope you have seen my previous video and you have liked it too. And I would appreciate that feedback that are coming from my students, from my viewers. Thanks a lot for that once again. And today I'm come with a topic named as subsidiary books. I've already mentioned there are many types of books which are need to be recorded, and subsidiary books are basically certain special books. So let's move on to the PPT presentation about what is subsidiary books.
So let's start. What is subsidiary books? So सबसे पहले you must know that we have learned about journal. What is journal? Journal was a very prime entry that is also known as original entry, and subsidiary books is just a subdivision of journal. Normally in a company we record journal entries, whatever the transactions are, we record in the journal entries. But in the larger companies, what happens that ki only doing a journal entry, they can't synchronize, they can't check that what transaction, which transaction is done where on which page number. That are lots of confusion, and it takes lots of time to just check, to just go through. That's why it is subdivided into different books. Cash transaction के लिए अलग book, credit transaction के लिए अलग books. So we'll see that what are the subsidiary books. So the subdivision of journal on the basis of nature of transaction is known as subsidiary books. These books are also called original entries or prime entries. As I told you, this is subsidiary books is just an other part of journal. So if anyone asks you, is journal and subsidiary books are one and the same? So it is not exactly same, but it is nearly same, because the works are done as it is, and it is only maintained in large companies. Then what are the needs? Why do we need to maintain the subsidiary books? Because it maintains the specialization, it gives you the specialization, it saves time, and it can divide the work easily. Just like if you have one accountant in the large company, it gives lot of tension, it gives lots of stress to him. So if you keep a separate accountant for the cash transaction, then credit transaction, or whatever we can say, so the work basically gets divided and the stress gets lowered. Then you get easily information, quick information and future reference, and you can check internally where you are lacking and what is the power of your company. Thank you. Next. So what are the types of subsidiary books on the basis of transaction? As I told you, there are basis of cash transaction, then credit transaction, and other one is on the basis of bill transaction and others. So cash transaction में simple column cash book, that is nothing but cash book, bank book, then two column cash book, it includes both cash and bank, and petty cash book. So basically it depends on the firm which book they need to record, which book they need to maintain. Then credit transaction, purchase book, sales book, purchase return, sales return. So whatever the transaction which are doing on credit, that is purchase sales, we should record over here, and whatever the products are damaged and we return it, that is entered into purchase return and sales return book. So what are bill receive book and bills payable book? That is just it rarely occurs. If anyone trades on credit and he don't have trust, then he just take a write-up from the buyer, or the seller takes the write-up from the buyer that when he is going to pay the money. So he just accept that I will yes pay in 1 month. So he just makes a bill and takes the sign. By signing, it means that the purchaser has been accepted the bill. So on that, against that bill, he can raise certain money. So that bill will be called as bill receivable for the seller, and for the purchaser, for the buyer, the same bill will be considered as bills payable. So the purchaser will maintain a bills payable book in his book, in his books of accounts, and the seller will maintain a bills receivable book. Similarly, if the seller has taken the goods on credit for resale, he will also maintain a bills payable book. Okay. Then others, what are others? General purpose. So the transactions which are not recorded over here, that are recorded over there. So what are that transactions? That will be see later. Then we'll see one by one the format and what are they, and we'll see the practical illustration of each transaction. that are cash transaction के ऊपर एक illustration, credit transaction के ऊपर एक illustration का अलग वीडियो हम लोग देखेंगे, and general purpose का सिर्फ theory, because it is not that much important. Okay, so all cash and bank transaction are recorded in the cash book. यहाँ पे basically दो sides होते हैं. One side is called receipt side, which is also called a debit side. Another side is a credit side, which is also called payment side. So जो कुछ भी आप receive करते हैं cash में, that you enter, that you record onto debit side, and whatever you pay, whatever you make the payment, that you make on credit side. Yes, that's the thing. सो इट इज़ वेरी सिंपल. जो भी आया आपके पास, जो भी कैश आया वो आप डेबिट साइड में लिखेंगे, जो भी कैश बाहर जाएगा वो आप क्रेडिट साइड में लिखेंगे. सिंपल. देन व्हाट आर टू कॉलम कैश बुक? सो हियर इट जस्ट इंक्लूड एन एक्स्ट्रा कॉलम. जैसे कि मैंने बताया कि कैश एंड बैंक ये दोनों का फॉर्मेट सेम है, दोनों का भी फॉर्मेट सेम है. बस कैश बुक में हम लोग सिर्फ कैश रिकॉर्ड करेंगे, बैंक बुक में हम लोग सिर्फ बैंक रिकॉर्ड करेंगे. अगर कोई बड़ी कंपनी है तो वो लोग क्या करते हैं, ये दो बुक मर्ज कर देते हैं. सो जो कैश में मिला है वो कैश कॉलम में आएगा, जो बैंक में मिला है वो बैंक कॉलम में आएगा. सो द फॉर्मेट इंक्लूड्स डेट, रिसिप्ट्स, from where did it receive. Like for example, we sell an asset, so we'll just enter the name to furniture account, receipt number if does it includes, then a left, then cash. If the payment is received in cash, then we will enter into a cash column. If we received a check, then we enter into a bank column. Simple. And similarly, if we do the payment as it is, as I told you about receipt, the same process you have to do it over there. Then petty cash book. It is basically petty cash book is a book of very minute expense. For example, in a company you order food, that are also called miscellaneous expenses. That is, you can make a separate head, or you just enter sundry expenses. So whatever normal expenses are there, they are called as miscellaneous expenses. And if you have printing, whatever expenses that are recorded on the regular basis, the separate column will be maintained by the petty cashier. So we will do the sums on that, and उस टाइम पे हमें क्लियर होगा कि एक्चुअली क्या है petty cash. So petty cash is derived from the French word petit, which means small. So this book is maintained by recording small expenses and which cannot be paid by check. तो नॉर्मली हम लोग चेक से पेमेंट कब करते हैं? जब 2000, 3000, 4000 ऐसे पेमेंट होंगे तब पेमेंट कर सकते हैं. नहीं तो नॉर्मली आजकल के डेज में हम लोग क्या करते हैं, वी डू डायरेक्टली UPI. हाँ, सो हाउ मच अमाउंट यू वांट? Okay, 58 rupees. Yes, take it from the UPI. We hardly take certain cash in our pocket and roam over here and there. We hardly do it. Okay, so whosoever maintains the petty cash is called petty cashier. And what has happened? In a particular company, there is a head cashier and there is a petty cashier. If the company is very big, there are many cashiers actually. But for a different department, different cashier, and there are certain small expenses that is maintained by the petty cashier. So what happens? So whosoever the head cashier is, he just gives certain amount. There are certain fixed amount. For example, we can consider 5,000. So he has to maintain all the expenses in that 5,000 only. Also, he can do one thing, that he can just estimate all the monthly expenses and just give the quotation to the head cashier, and accordingly he can issue the money to him, and he should maintain all the expenses. If he is doing on a phone call, if he is doing on a printing, if he is doing on a purchasing any stationery, so he needs to record differently. Okay, so yes, and in a month, if certain cash remains, so there are two ways. Either, for example, he spends 3,500 and 1,500 still remains. So either head cashier will give the remaining 3,500 so that he can sums up to 5,000, or he just give 5,000 to him and ask him to give the updates of all the cash. That's it. Then what are purchase books? Now here are the credit transaction books. So यहाँ पे जो भी ट्रांजेक्शन है केवल और केवल क्रेडिट के, लेकिन अगर आपने कोई भी एसेट उधार पे खरीदा तो यहाँ पे नहीं आएगा, बिकॉज द एसेट can't be purchased on credit basis. No one seller can be sell you on credit basis. Just you need to inform, you need to keep in mind that you can't enter a credit transaction, credit purchase of any asset or credit sales of any asset in these type of books. So where do it go? It goes in general property. Okay, so purchase books are books where goods purchased on credit for manufacturing or resale are only recorded in the purchase book. Cash purchases are not recorded in the purchase book. Credit purchase of any asset is not recorded in the purchase book. So here's the format: date, name of supplier, so whoever supplied to you, then inward invoice number, LF, and amount. Then sales book, similarly the format is date, name of customer, outward invoice, so whatever invoice you have raising to him, and LF, then amount. So here is the other purchase return and sales return book. So whatever you just purchase and return it back, so that will be entered over here, and whatever you sales and return it back, that is entered into sales return book. So here we issue, in the purchase return book, we issue debit note number, because you have been given the cash and entered into your you have not been entered into the cash book, but as the purchase is an expense, so you have got debited previously, so he or you issue a debit note number just because he can debit from his book, ताकि वो उधर से माइनस कर सके, और उसी तरह opposite credit note number. Now the last one is journal purpose. So transaction which do not place in special journal entries are entered in journal purpose. So जैसे कि मैंने बताया, जो credit transaction book, जो cash transaction book में ना आए, वो यहाँ पे आता है. So what are those? Opening entries. Opening entries means balance brought down, I told you. Then in the journal entries, we did the first transaction, the capital account, that's are the opening entries. Then adjustment entries, sometimes it happens like you have closed all the accounts and accidentally you just got to know that something amount is still pending to pay. Then you, at that time, whichever entry is done, that are called adjustment entries. Then rectification entries, sometimes it happens that you have paid 10,500, but by mistake you just enter 1050 in घाई में एक zero कहीं रह जाता है, either you write 1500. So whatever the difference is, you just need to record a separate entry for it. So yes, then purchase and sales of asset on credit, there it is. Withdrawal of good by proprietor, then bad debts return off, all this concept we have learned.
Thanks for watching, my dear students. I hope you have understood all the concepts which I have considered. In the next lecture, in the next video, we will be uploading practical illustration of each subsidiary books, that are cash book, practical illustration on cash book, practical illustration on double column cash book, practical illustration on credit transaction book, that are purchase book, sales book, purchase return, sales book. So for that, for getting the update, you just need to like, share and subscribe, and don't forget to click on the bell icon. Thank you.